Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. These words encapsulate the illuminating path we will explore together. For intelligence is not mere cerebral trivia, but a holistic way of living with wisdom, resilience, and virtue. What qualities truly signify an engaged, imaginative mind? The insatiable curiosity to continually learn and question assumptions, a poised command over one's emotions and sharp focus, an eagerness to adapt to life's ever-shifting circumstances. These and other indispensable hallmarks separate those flourishing with purposeful understanding from those drifting rudderless on the turbulent seas of existence. In this discussion, we will unearth 12 core embodiments of authentic intelligence that cannot be artificially mimicked or purchased. Awakening these potent ways of being will unlock new dimensions of fulfillment across all your pursuits and relationships. So commit yourself to an open receptivity as we part the veils of complacency and ego. Before we begin, I would appreciate your support. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. If you like the theme of this video, please comment +1, and if you don't like it, then comment 0. We look forward to hearing your feedback. Signs number 1. Curiosity is not satisfied. One of the most genuine signs of intelligence that cannot be feigned is an unquenchable curiosity, a profound acknowledgement that one does not know everything. This trait is not merely about accumulating facts, but embodying the humility and fervor to continually learn and grow. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. The words reflect the Stoics' belief in the value of questioning the status quo and constantly pursuing wisdom. Curiosity in Stoicism is not passive. It demands active engagement and critical thinking. It involves asking insightful questions that challenge conventional wisdom and delving deeper into topics to unearth underlying truths. Such intellectual bravery not only expands one's knowledge, but also enhances one's ability to navigate life's complexities with grace and resilience. How can we, like the Stoics, cultivate a curiosity that enriches our lives? It begins with embracing the unknown and appreciating that every moment presents an opportunity to learn something valuable. This approach is vital for personal development, as it encourages us not only to seek knowledge, but also to reflect on our own thoughts and behaviors, fostering robust self-awareness. Indeed, the capacity to admit one's limitations and the eagerness to fill those gaps with knowledge are hallmarks of a truly intelligent person. They signify not just a well-informed individual, but a wise one, for wisdom lies in recognizing one's ignorance and transforming it into insight. As Seneca, another Stoic luminary, taught, true wisdom consists in not departing from nature and in molding our conduct according to her laws and model. A life led by such inquisitive humility is not just more informed, but deeply fulfilling. Signs number 2. Open thought. What is the first thing of a practitioner of philosophy? To be free from conceit. With these words, I remind myself to approach life not as arrogant know-it-alls, but with an open mind, willing to consider new ideas and perspectives. True intelligence stems from a deep humility, the understanding that our individual viewpoint is but one limited frame in which to glimpse the whole truth. To close our minds to differing opinions is to dwell in a narcissistic delusion that we already comprehend all that can be comprehended. The path to wisdom begins by questioning our assumptions and seeking insight from various sources and disciplines. The poet reveals truths about human nature through stories. The scientist expands our understanding through empirical observation. The philosopher probes with disciplined logic and reason. Each offers a unique vantage point that an open mind integrates. Take the example of Aristotle's belief that women had fewer teeth than men. For centuries, people took the great thinker's word as fact, rather than openly examining the evidence before them. It was only when one had the humility to objectively observe and count that this misconception was overturned. Those who cling stubbornly to preconceptions cut themselves off from growth and understanding. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. To live with open thought is to embrace an ever-evolving perspective where we hold even our firmest beliefs lightly, ready to revise in the light of new information and experience. It is to be perpetual students of the grand classroom that surrounds us each waking moment. So let us nurture our greatest embodiment of intelligence, an open mind raised clean of assumption, ready to be fertilized by the seeds of wisdom found in every source and experience, if we have the humility and courage to openly receive them. Signs number 3 is the silent type. There is no person so severely punished as those who subject themselves to the whip of their own tongues. With these words, I remind myself and others of the virtue of being the silent type, not one who never speaks, but one who chooses words deliberately and avoids idle chatter. How often I have witnessed those who cannot bear the slightest pause in conversation, filling every silence with inanity and gossip. Like incessant hammers, their tongues scatter random thoughts with no purpose or insight. True intelligence is recognized not by a ceaseless gush of words, but in the poise to remain silent until one has something meaningful to express. The value of measured speech lies in intentionally assessing each situation to determine if our voice may add light. The reason why we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth is that we may listen more and talk less. The mindless chatterbox inserts its noise into every opening, stifling wiser voices. The intelligent reserves their words for when it may uplift or illuminate. For example, a group debates a course of action. The foolish interrupter cannot allow others to develop a coherent argument, butting in with half-formed opinions and shutting down deeper analysis. Wisdom is found in the disciplined thinker who lets all perspectives be aired before distilling the most insightful path forward. As was said, silence is the respite of the wise. Embrace the power in occasionally being the silent type. It is a practice of mentally evaluating whether your voice is necessary or merely adding to obscuring winds. With a calm spirit, we become open vessels, able to receive understanding first, responding only after fully weighing all perspectives. Then our words carry the weight of truth, tempered by judicious reflection. In a clamorous world of endless distraction, have the fortitude and keen judgment to be silent, patient, and await your hour. True intelligence flows from those secure enough to think before speaking their truth. Signs number 4. High adaptability. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. These words capture a foundational Stoic principle that resilience and adaptability in the face of ever-shifting circumstances are cornerstones of an intelligent, tranquil existence. For what is the point of fleeting pleasures and material possessions when all must be relinquished in time? True satisfaction comes from cultivating inner flexibility to gracefully embrace life's ceaseless metamorphoses, like a sturdy reed bending in the winds, rather than the fragile oak that breaks under the tempest's force. The ability to rapidly assess new situations through reasoned analysis, releasing outdated preconceptions, and deriving strength from change itself. This is a profound intelligence available to all who diligently practice, and crucially, it spares us interminable anguish. Consider the traveller whose ship is blown off course. The fool bemoans their misfortune, shaking a fist at the heavens for allowing such an injustice. But what has lamentable circumstance achieved? Only wasted time and energy that could be invested in charting a new, purposeful heading. Contrast this with the mindset of adaptability, taking present reality as it is and flowing like water to the most viable path forward. The detour introduces unforeseen scenery and growth. In this way, a perceived obstacle becomes a catalyst for adventure and wisdom. This principle is not easy. It requires fortitude to reject self-indulgent pity and anger when plans go awry. Circumstances do not rise to meet our expectations. Events happen as they do. People behave as they are made to. True intelligence accepts each moment with tranquil objectivity, acting with reason and poise. So, embrace adaptability, not just as a tool for survival, but as a vehicle for maximizing each experience and growing in virtue. Signs number 5. Strong self-control. Nothing greater is created suddenly than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me you want a fig, I tell you it takes time. Let it bloom. Flowers first, then bears fruit, then ripens. With these words, I remind myself of the need for strong self-control, avoiding impulses to rash actions and cultivating disciplined mindfulness to consider our decisions rationally. How many of life's regrets and miseries stem from a lack of restraint? An emotional outburst that scorches relationships, appetite indulged to excess leaving us ill, or thoughtless words spoken that forever change the course of destinies. Raw emotion, unchecked by reason, creates chaos and poisoned minds dwelling in perpetual anguish. True intelligence is found in those who have the studied self-mastery to pause amidst rising tempests of anger, selfish cravings or fear, and apply prudent judgment through the lens of logic and core virtues. The undisciplined are tossed aimlessly by every passing impulse and circumstance. The self-controlled harness their energies toward uplifting, mindful conduct. For example, in the heat of business negotiations, egos often flare into shouting matches and threats. Unchecked anger prevails, and interactions meant to create mutual benefit devolve into zero-sum conflicts. But apply self-restraint, breathing deliberate calmness into the situation, seeking the reasoned interests underlying clashing positions, and compromises respectfully satisfying all emerge. How few things are truly necessary. By divorcing our thoughts from frivolous impulses and emotions, we uphold our core values and reserve our efforts for what cultivates meaning and virtue. Self-control forges the resilience and clarity to cheerfully embrace each circumstance life grants us, responding with poise rather than a reflexive reaction. In this way, a philosophy of self-restraint is true enlightened intelligence, recognizing our human frailties and consciously pursuing the highest reason and duty, not indulging our whims, but governing them under logos, produces the serenity to thrive amidst inevitable difficulties with honor and resolve. Signs number 6. Possibility of receiving errors. He who does not prevent what he can prevent sanctions its existence. I remind myself that intelligence is not just the acquisition of knowledge, but having the humility and self-awareness to correct errors in our thinking and actions. How often do we encounter those so insecure, so attached to their fragile egos, that they vehemently deny any possibility of their own mistakes? As frantic animals backed into a corner, they lashed out at any perceived criticism or threat to the pedestal they've blindly constructed for themselves. True wisdom recognizes that to err is human. It is the admission of errors and diligent efforts towards self-improvement that elevate us. Consider the student whose solution to a challenging problem is markedly incorrect. The arrogant repels the feedback, becoming defensive and likely doomed to repeat the mistake endlessly. But the pupil who accepts their misstep with poise, re-examines their flawed assumptions, and charts a new approach. This is the behavior of a mind focused on growth over ego preservation. The wrong way acts on itself as a punishment. When we cling stubbornly to our errors, we separate ourselves from the truth and condemn our potential to stagnate. Only by regularly holding up the mirror of self-reflection can we realign our mentalities and behaviors with universal reason. So exhibit the humility and discipline to routinely ask yourself, where might I be mistaken? Shed the damaging false pride that rejects teachable moments. For it is in shedding preconceptions and beginning anew that lasting wisdom blooms. Intelligent men and women enthusiastically welcome having their blind spots exposed. It is the only path to continual growth and living a life of virtue. Signs number 7. Intelligence. Life is a quarry out of which our virtues must be dug. These words remind us that in mining the raw experiences of human existence for lessons, we must cast aside taking every circumstance too grimly. A well-timed jest can be the philosophical pickaxe that shatters hard-crusted assumptions and dogmas. True intelligence is not just cold logic and seriousness, but the ability to process information from surprising angles and find humor even in life's difficulties. Those who can laugh at themselves exhibit a level of self-awareness and perspective lacking in the perpetually dour. Two people who face a frustrating professional setback. One descends into anger and ranting about the injustice of it all, but the other, after allowing themselves to feel the disappointment, manages to make a witty quip about the absurdity, instantly lightening the emotional load through humor's catharsis. This creative flexibility to reframe negative experiences demonstrates valuable coping skills. Furthermore, sighing at life's folly with an amused detachment erodes excessive ego and unhealthy attachments to circumstances beyond our control. Laughter becomes the elixir purging us of useless mental toxins. At its highest application, it becomes a rapier deftly skewering societal ills and unquestioned hypocrisies, a formidable tool for fomenting positive change. As Epictetus taught, only the educated are free. Those who can adeptly wield humor expose timeless truths and liberate minds calcified by dogma. Embrace finding the fundamental ironies underlying existence, not just for your own tranquility, but as a means of illuminating wisdom, for it is only those who develop the broader intelligence to laugh at the cosmic joke who can truly live with lightness and philosophic victory. Signs number 8. Intelligence. The path is smooth that leadeth on to dangers. True intelligence requires creativity, the ability to apply novel perspectives and unconventional solutions. The world abounds with complex problems, crying out for innovative approaches. Yet, too often, we favor familiar routines and thought patterns, even when they no longer serve. Insanity, as the saying goes, is doing the same thing repeatedly while expecting different results. Emotional intelligence involves the adaptability to step outside mental boxes. An example from nature: the oak tree drops its seeds directly beneath its branches year after year. While some may sprout into opportunity, the dense canopy above chokes off sunlight, ensuring only limited growth. But occasionally, through some unexpected gust or bird's beak, a seed takes an unorthodox path, blooming anew in a sun-drenched glade. From difficulty arose abundance. This process reflects the workings of a questioning, curious mind, ever alert for insights from diverse sources and synthesizing new frameworks. As Aristotle taught, the more you know, the more you see. Keen observational skills wed to imaginative thinking birth, creative ideas, translating vision into reality. We would all do well to embody this childlike sense of wonder, walking familiar paths from fresh angles, entertaining unorthodox hypotheses, and pursuing unlikely collaborators. It is at the intersection of different disciplines that the boundaries of knowledge expand. So embrace the fearlessness to routinely ask, "What if?" and seek inspiration from unexpected quarters. Let your emotional intelligence guide you beyond the boundaries of conditioned thought. Those daring to take the proverbial path less traveled just may stumble upon truths eluding the complacent herd. Signs. Number 9. Strong self-identification. It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting. So many in this world operate from a place of fragile egos, constructing flimsy facades of exaggerated worth while inwardly berating themselves as imposters. This internal war between self-deception and self-doubt erodes away any semblance of wisdom or tranquility. True intelligence stems from rigorous self-study, charting one's unique skill and psychological makeup without judgment. The example of two archers whose arrows fail to hit their targets. The first crumbles from self-loathing at his perceived inadequacy, spiraling into despair and quitting the craft entirely. In contrast, the archer grounded in self-awareness dispassionately observes his flaws, objectively weighing whether more practice or employing different techniques may compensate. Very little is needed for everything to be unfolding peacefully. By stripping away grandiose delusions and owning our innate human imperfections, we paradoxically become liberated to maximize our potential. Self-acceptance short-circuits the cycle of anxiety and self-sabotaging behaviors. So let us cultivate the emotional honesty to clearly identify, these are my strengths, those are my shortcomings, neither superior nor inferior, but my current standing to leverage toward betterment. This mindful self-awareness inoculates us against distorted perceptions, channeling energies towards purposeful growth rather than vainly struggling to save our sense of self-worth. Signs. Number 10. Ability to maintain many benefits. Fit yourself for life's circumstances, not circumstances for yourself. These words encapsulate the intelligent person's drive to pursue continual growth through an array of endeavors and self-disciplines. It takes a unique mind to juggle myriad interests and projects without becoming fragmented, setting priorities yet remaining open to unexpected opportunities for expansion. The simpleton fixates on a singular track, while the wise allocate their time and energies conscientiously between physical, intellectual, spiritual, and social spheres. Consider the philosophical explorer who diligently studies the ancient texts and nature's exquisite patterns, all while adhering to a regimen of healthy practices fueling their journey of self-actualization. To them, no realm is deemed unworthy of curiosity, for cross-pollination between disciplines breeds ever-deepening insights. Likewise, examine the prolific inventor whose ingenious creations spring forth not from a single fixation, but a mind enriched by pursuits of music, design, mechanics, psychology, and more. It is this harmonious balance of varied experiences that catalyzes true innovation. All things are interwoven, and the connection must be embraced with an attitude of pursuit and observation. Those content to hoard their knowledge miss the broader symphonic interplay where brilliant ideas emerge. take stock of the abundant buffet of opportunities this wondrous life avails us. Resist the lure of comfortable stagnation, instead developing ambitious vision boards of skills to be cultivated and frontiers awaiting exploration. For it is those who maintain the disciplined ability to feast omnivorously at wisdom's tables who satisfy an enduring hunger for excellence. Signs. Number 11. Preferences. Loneliness. Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for crisis. Those who fear being alone demonstrate not strength, but a disturbing inability to bear the weightiness of their own psyche's company. They default compulsively to distraction and noise, denying the germinating powers of silent incubation. The intelligent understand that genuine growth necessitates periods of inwardly focusing one's energies. The sculptor's creative process, the hands-on shaping and chiseling, only manifests an emerging masterpiece after the mind has thoroughly meditated on the inert block's potential already residing within. Would the sculptor be wise to conduct this vital forging of vision amid a crowd's insistent clamoring? Of course not. Masterworks require stretches of uninterrupted gestation. The soul becomes brilliant by consistently reclaiming its solitude. Solitary retreats beckon us to pause the external bombardment and turn inward, reconnecting with our core values and aspirations. Reviews of the day allow sober reflections on missteps and reinvigorated pursuits of virtue. Planning and creativity flourish when freed from the distortions of peer pressures. Let us not shun, but welcome deprivation of social activity on occasion, for it is when we courageously retreat into silent chambers that our spirit's truest brilliance has room to be projected in full luminance. Those who resist solitude's gravity deafen themselves to the wisest internal oracles. So routinely return to the nourishing wellsprings within, for it is in thoughtful solitude that we replenish purpose, retune our compasses, and metabolize the experiences that refine understanding into wisdom. Signs number 12. Be sensitive to other people's feeling. What injures the hive injures the bee. This metaphor reminds us that we are all intricately linked to a lack of compassion and awareness of how our conduct impacts those around us, to fundamentally misunderstand our role in the grand, unfolding unity of life. True intelligence is as much about emotional sophistication as cold ratiocination. Consider those who constantly bulldoze through interactions blind to the emotional turbulence they leave in their wake. Like unchained avalanches, they crush everything in their path without a second thought. What sheer foolishness to subscribe to such obliviously self-centered ways of being. We are social creatures, and fulfillment arises through harmonious bonds with our brothers and sisters. The emotionally intelligent walk through this world as finely tuned instruments, continuously reading non-verbal cues, energy levels, unvoiced needs, and the unique psychological makeups of each soul they encounter. They adapt their personal frequency in resonance, expressing authentic care and elevating those around them through compassionate words and presence. What is the first business of one who practices philosophy? To get rid of self-conceit. Once we untether from the blinders of egoism, we awaken to the richness of being truly present with others' emotional experiences without judgment or detached aloofness. We become students of the entire human condition. So let us commit to developing exquisite empathic listening and observational talents. For it is only when we lead from the heart-mind, intentionally sculpting shared, uplifting environments, that our own lives take on genuinely ennobled purpose. Like the mushroom trio presiding over a decaying log, emotions connect us to perpetual cycles of giving sustenance to others' growth as the highest manifestation of intelligence. We have examined 12 core qualities: curiosity, open-mindedness, judicious speech, adaptability, self-control, a growth mindset, wit, creativity, self-knowledge, varied interests, solitude, and empathy. Not superficial markers, but profound embodiments of living with reason, tranquility, and virtue. The path is now illuminated for you to actively cultivate these attributes in your own philosophic journey, but I cannot force the rays of enlightenment upon you. As Epictetus taught, only the educated are free. You alone can choose to free yourself from pettiness and ego, instead of purposefully nurturing the habits of an intelligent, masterful human existence. So invite you to let these insights plant fertile seeds within your psyche. Like and share this knowledge to spread its wisdom among those you care for. Most importantly, engage in the comments with how this newfound awareness has influenced your perspective. 4. Enlively.